Welcome to the special holiday episode of Podsauce. I'm Dax Holt.
I am Alesha Renee. We are your podcast discovery show. What is that?
This is a Yeti.
Oh,
this
gosh.
is me getting my holiday spirit on.
This is as festive as I was giving you, honey.
I was like, what is the ugliest sweater? That one.
I'll take two of
That
those,
one, and I will
please.
take that. And it has a spot where I can put my beer, too.
Hold
Just put
my
it right
beer.
there.
That's such a redneck Christmas. What a redneck Christmas going on over there.
I'm excited for this holiday episode.
Yes.
We're going to do everything surrounding holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, throw it all in there, give you some great recommendations for podcasts you may not know about. And we are going to start it off right now with Brian Moylan, who has 12 Gays of Christmas.
12 Gays of Christmas podcast. Hi, Brian.
Hi guys, how are you?
We're good.
Good.
You?
Merry Christmas!
And all that good stuff. Break down 12 Gays of Christmas. Give us the elevator pitch for those who may not be familiar with your podcast. Go.
It's just me interviewing gays about their favorite Christmas movies. And so I talked to Adam Rippon, the Olympic figure skater, about Elf. I talked to advice columnist Dan Savage about It's a Wonderful Life. We do Gremlins, The Grinch, The Family Stone, every Christmas movie you can imagine, Home Alone, all that stuff.
I listened to the Gremlins episode, and I realized that I have something in common with drag queens, because I too should not be fed after midnight. Don't get me wet, honey. And what is
No.
it? And what was the last line?
No bright lights.
And no bright lights. Great podcast. I say that to say.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really fun. I'm a big fan of Christmas and Christmas movies, and it's, something that a lot of people can identify with, and we all have our favorites. And so it's nice to just talk about people's favorite traditions and things like that. We play little games about Christmas and
Yeah, I listened to the Adam Rippon episode. I was like, oh, I like him. I'm going to go check out that episode. And what I like that you do in 12 Gays of Christmas is you talk to them about even just what they do for the holidays. You guys talked in depth about what he does for Thanksgiving leading into, into the holidays. I loved it. It was a good glimpse into these celebrities and their lives. And then you get into their movie.
Yeah, and so I think so many people celebrate Christmas, and we all do it a little bit differently. And so those are my favorite things to hear about, like the weird thing your family does, or what you want your tree to look like, or things like that. So yeah, I like to talk to people about Christmas, even people that hate it or people that don't celebrate it. I talked to comedian named Lisa Traeger, and she's Jewish, and her family goes to the movies every year on Christmas.
Has
like so many
Chinese
Jewish
food
families do.
first, then goes to the movies. Get it right.
Exactly. Yeah, so we talked about the movie Stepmom, which is like a Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon movie where Susan Sarandon dies. Spoiler alert. But it's because she had seen it on Christmas with her family, and so now it makes her think of Christmas, and there's some Christmas scenes in the movie. So it's not something one would traditionally consider a Christmas movie, but it has Christmas significance.
I'm like, that
for
is
her.
such a heavy movie for Christmas. I'm like, it's supposed to be like, wait, real question. Die Hard. Christmas movie?
Yes.
Not Christmas movie. Go.
I think it depends on how you define Christmas movie. I would say Die Hard, like Gremlins, is kind of an action movie that happens at Christmas, as opposed to something like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is a movie about Christmas.
That's my favorite Christmas movie. It's so funny you say that. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
I'm a big Home Alone fan. I love Home Alone. Now, Brian, you're still a baby podcast when it comes to this. You've had less than 10 episodes so far. You're starting to get going. Have you talked about what your favorite Christmas movie is yet? I know you talk about The Guest, but what is yours?
That's a very good question. I kind of like them all. I don't really play favorites. I really love cheesy, like Lifetime, Hallmark, like cable TV movies. So there's one that was on VH1 in 2000 with Vanessa Williams called A Diva's Christmas Carol.
Saw that one.
And it's like everything you want it to be. So I like something kind of weird and campier probably than most people. But I'm happy. I'll just put on Hallmark Channel, and anything that comes on, I'll watch somebody fall in love with their high school sweetheart opening a hot chocolate stand in their hometown or whatever the hell they're doing on Hallmark Channel these days.
So do you have any dream guests that you would love to have on your podcast or that's coming up?
I think we've seen a lot of great guests. There's still some more. I talked to Danny Pellegrino, who's a fellow Real Housewives aficionado like myself. I talked to my old Gawker.com colleague, Richard Lawson. Lots of great people. I mean, I just love gay people and funny gay people. So I'm kind of open to anybody who's going to be funny and really into Christmas and also gay. So.
That caveat. Got to be gay. Brian, this is a podcast discovery show. What podcasts are you listening to? What podcasts can you recommend?
My favorite podcast is called Bitch Sesh, and it's a Real Housewives breakdown show. I've been a guest many times, and it's Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider, two comedians and actresses and housewives obsessives. And so they talk a lot about the Real Housewives, which is sort of one of my specialty areas. So that is one of the very few podcasts I listen to.
Okay, Brian, if you could ditch one franchise of the Housewives, what would it be?
Oh, Orange County, easy, without even thinking.
I've never heard anything about Orange County. They have to be boring.
They were the original.
They have to be boring, though.
All right.
Because if it was that good, they wouldn't have had ATL. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one I know. Because, Black Power.
Atlanta, excellent. Potomac, excellent. Orange County?
Not so much.
That's excellent.
Not so much.
I love it. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us here on Podsauce. And if anyone wants to check out 12 Gays of Christmas, you can head on over to podsauce.com. We'll have a link straight to Brian's podcast, and you can check it out.
I want to put up the Gremlins episode just because it was hilarious.
And the Adam one. We do the Adam one, too. The Adam one was really good, too.
We're going to put the Gremlins one up
There's
first.
only 12.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Brian. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have more coming up on Podsauce. Welcome back to Podsauce, guys. I'm Alesha and Dax.
And I'm Dax Holt.
Your podcast discovery show.
And it's time to get Jewy up in here.
Jewy up in here. I can only imagine if I said, we have a resident Jew, take it away.
Listen, we've been talking about Christmas this whole episode. I'm ready. We're going to talk some Hanukkah.
Well, when do we get to talk about Kwanzaa? Since that's the avenue we're going down, okay? If that's how you want to play this, Dax, I can do it too. No, I'm just playing.
So I'm going to get into the top Hanukkah episodes for people out there that want to maybe know a little bit about Hanukkah,
You say
that aren't educated.
Hanukkah. Okay. I'm going to trust you.
So no, this is good. You know what? And I think that there's so many people out there that do ask, like, what is Hanukkah? Why do you celebrate Hanukkah? Because everyone kind of associates it as like the Jewish Christmas.
Yeah.
Because there's presents and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to suggest, it's not as big of a holiday as Christmas is. It is a lesser holiday in the Jewish world. It's not Yom Kippur. It's not Rosh Hashanah. But I think because it happens at the same time, your kids, they see all the other kids getting presents and this, so
they said, run us our things.
We
want our
give
things
us
too.
our presents. So we gave them their presents.
Okay.
So if you do want to know more about Hanukkah, here's an episode of a podcast I suggest you check out. It's called Stuff You Should Know, which is a very popular podcast. The episode, though, is How Hanukkah Works. It was first recorded back in 2010. However, it still works today.
Oh, it's a new... Hanukkah's a new invention?
What?
Wait, what happened in 2010? Did Hanukkah just come up in 2010?
They've been lighting the oil for a long time.
I thought so. I was like...
No, the episode, not Hanukkah as a whole.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Hanukkah has been around longer than 2010, my G. What are we talking about?
The Jews have been here for a couple years.
1,000%.
Right? So this will dive into Hanukkah. This will dive into the significance, why it's not the Christmas, the Jewish Christmas. So great episode there. The second one that I would recommend if you want to know about Hanukkah would be the Kibbutz. It's episode 1. It's called Light. And the host, David, will go through, he kind of makes a meal, so he's making latkes, which are really popular during Hanukkah. It's like,
oh, those are the pancake.
yes, potato pancakes that are fried in oil, delicious. One of my favorite parts of Hanukkah, by the way. But he will describe everything that's happening. So 2 really good podcasts if you're just questioning what the heck Hanukkah is.
When do I get invited over for a Seder?
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with Hanukkah.
But it's the one thing I knew. It's the one thing. We're talking about stuff you should know. That's the one thing I knew. Seders. I want to come over. You said you and Dee were going to invite me over. I want my meal.
You can come over for Shabbat. It's every Friday. If you want to sit through LA traffic, you're welcome to come on down.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Anyway, so those would be the 2 podcasts to recommend for you if you're interested in Hanukkah. Stuff you should know, how Hanukkah works, and the Kibbutz episode 1, which is Light.
Beautiful. Thanks, Dee. And if you guys want to find out more about Hanukkah, go to podsauce.com. Don't go anywhere, guys. We have more. This is Podsauce. Welcome back to Podsauce, guys. I'm Alesha Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
We are now joined by the host of Deck the Hallmark with Boughs of Holly. That was just a little ad. I just added that in there. It's definitely not the title. Deck the Hallmark, Bran Gray. What's up, Big B?
Hey, Podsauce. The sauce.
We got sauce all in this thing.
We are
It's
feeling
the
it.
sauce.
Thank you for
Got that
wearing
Christmas
your
sauce.
holiday sweater to join us in this festive day.
Yes, I don't need an excuse. This is just what I was wearing today. That's just kind of the life I live.
So, Brett, give us a little synopsis of what your podcast is about. What Deck the Hallmark is about for someone that's never tuned in.
Yes, Deck the Hallmark is a podcast that is hosted by me and 2 of my other buddies. I love Hallmark Christmas movies. One guy named Panda likes them okay, and another guy named Dan, he's the worst. He hates the movies. And we review every single Hallmark Christmas movie that comes out every year, plus some other ones from Lifetime and Netflix. So out throughout the holiday season, starting a little bit before Halloween, because that's the way it goes these days, we put out 6 episodes a week reviewing 50-plus Christmas movies in the span of 2 months. And we try to get a little bit of sleep in the process. So that's the deal.
You never tire? 6?
No, well, yeah, I never tire of Christmas.
I'm impressed with, because Hallmark, the Hallmark movies, they become kind of a joke in society. Do you truly enjoy them, or you truly enjoy talking about them?
No, I truly loved them. I watched them before the podcast started. It was an idea that came out of my love of these movies, because there wasn't a podcast that was hosted by some guys and talking about them and having fun with them. Like, I get that they're not great. I can have a lot of fun poking fun at them, but I will be watching these movies long after this podcast is done, whenever that happens, hopefully not anytime soon.
So Dan the Grinch, what is his disdain with these Hallmark movies? What is
I
it?
don't know. If someone heard him as a kid, I don't know. He hates joy and laughter. He's a film snob, and so like if it's not like real art, like cinema art, he just takes a doo-doo on it. So it's a real shame. But he's my best buddy, so I got to keep him around.
Martin Scorsese is not over here directing Hallmark films. Tell Dan to just like chill for a minute.
That's what I'm saying,
Go
man.
along
Just
for the
like
ride.
look. That's exactly right. You get it.
Being the good Jew that I am, I tuned in to the 8 Gifts of a Hanukkah episode.
Fantastic. What'd you think?
It was hilarious. You guys had me laughing so hard. And now I'm like, I actually want to watch this movie.
Hey, it was a good one. Of all of the Hallmark's, little excursions over into Hanukkah land, it was the best of those ones. It was actually really good.
So what would you say, and I mean, you love all of these movies, but which one is actually the worst Hallmark movie of all time?
Oof, that's a good one.
Oh, it's tough. I am a positive person, so I try not to
we
say
want to see the worst
the
one.
worst.
Get into it.
But if I were to say the one that is the most challenged, and I don't have a very long memory, so I'm just going to go this year.
Okay.
This year, the worst There's a handful of them. There's a movie called A Christmas Treasure, which is probably the most disappointing because it stars Jordan Sparks, and I love Jordan Sparks. But there's like Jordan Sparks who's being a spark, and everyone around her is just taking a nap. And it was a tough slog. Like, she's on screen, she's doing her thing, and she sings, and you're like, yeah, you go, Jordan. And then everyone around her is committed to making you fall asleep as quickly as possible. They're all like whispering every line. So that one's probably was the hardest one to sit through so far this year.
It's so funny to hear someone have this level of joy as it pertains to Hallmark Christmas movies. I kind of correlated to my closest connection is my love of Lifetime murder, kill movies.
Yeah.
Do you find the similarities just in the whole genre and the obsession behind it? And I say obsession because there are people who faithfully wait for Halloween to kick rocks for the holiday movies to start coming out.
Yeah, well, you don't have to anymore because they turn on before Halloween the way God intended. But yeah, 100%. It's the same thing. They're not, Lifetime and Hallmark kind of operate in the same world where they make movies in 14 days with like a $2 million budget, and they're just trying to pop them out as quickly as possible because it's more about, quantity versus quality. So they're just trying to push out the stuff. And so, yeah, there's something campy about it. If you can kind of get over the fact that, there's going to be continuity issues and some things aren't going to make sense. That's part of the fun.
Yes.
And so you just got to watch it and enjoy it for what it is.
I think I wanted to know, like, your favorite Hallmark Christmas movie, your favorite one of all time.
Yeah. Well, this year has been a really good year for Hallmark, I will say. We've been doing this for 4 holiday seasons, and this is the best crop. And so there's a couple of movies that stick out from this year. One is An Unexpected Christmas, which stars Bethany Joy Lenz from that one show back in the day. She's really great.
Not that one show.
It's just a really, really fun movie. I would implore everybody to watch it. And then if Next Stop Christmas, I think will make a lot of people happy because it is a time travel movie that takes place on a train, and Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future's on it. And
wait, did you just conjure that up?
No, it's a real thing. It's a real movie. And I've done this bit. I've explained this movie. This is a true story. I explained the plot of Next Stop Christmas with Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. I explained it to Kelly Clarkson last week, and she said the same thing. She said, "You're making this story up." And I said, "No, Kelly Clarkson, I'm not. It's a real movie. It's a real movie."
I'm a real boy.
That's right.
Bran, I feel like we could be friends. You are hilarious. So I need to know what podcast you're listening to so that I can enjoy those podcasts because I feel like we have a very similar sense of humor.
Okay, so I this is true. I'm not a huge comedy podcast fan. I'm more into the serious things. So I live in this Hallmark space. Business Wars is put out a new season, which is actually covering the Christmas movie boom. And it's very fascinating to listen to as somebody who lives in this space 24/7. So the new season of Business Wars is what I'm listening to. And I also grew up an evangelical Christian in a pretty strict household. And there is a podcast called The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill, which is about this pastor who's pretty much a jerk face and telling the story of the rise and the fall of his church. And as somebody who was really into that story when it happened about 10, 15 years ago, it was really interesting to listen to. So those are the things that I've been listening to over the last couple weeks. But it's tough to listen to a lot right now because I'm watching just more movies than I should.
Great recommendations.
I want to know what
Thank
Hallmark feels about your podcast. Are they cutting you a check, Brandon? Because they need to. Let me tell you something.
They listen, Hallmark, they're fine to us, but they have a brand, and their brand is like cards, like, hey, get well soon type of thing. Their brand is not snarky fun times with the boys. So no, they're not cutting us checks. I will take their money though when they're ready to write one. And they have our number. We just put out a book, by the way. I'll Be Home for Christmas movies, and so that's one way. Hallmark's not going to write that check, but if you buy a book, that's kind of like that. It's a roundabout way of me getting paid. So thank you for buying the book.
They owe you. You got me interested in checking out a
They
movie.
need to run you
So
some coins.
they owe
There
you
you go.
some dinero.
There you go.
They need to. I feel like this is the new version of Siskel and Ebert, and I'm here for it. Hallmark
Thank you.
edition. Hallmark edition.
Right.
Brandon Gray, host of Deck the Hallmark. Thank you so much, Big B.
Thank y'all. Happy holidays to you.
Don't go anywhere, guys. We got so much more coming up. This is Podsauce. Welcome back to Podsauce, wrapping up our exclusive little holiday episode.
I got a feature for you guys, holiday pick, just to go along with what we got going around these here parts. It's called It's a Wonderful Lie, hosted by Ashley Flowers. Ashley, I don't know.
She does everything.
She's booked and busy.
She is running the podcast land.
It's basically, have you ever gotten newsletters
Oh, God. Please don't.
About what they have going on?
Yeah, it's normally like the older people will send you one, and I get like 2 sentences. I'm like, I can't do this.
So what they do in It's a Wonderful Lie, basically they read between the lines of what they think they're really trying to say. So when you say you and Tom, you know, went out to South Africa for a week and you had a great time, what it really was your mother-in-law is now shacking up with you, and Tom needed to get the hell up out of there before he divorces you next week. You know, so that's what
You lost me so bad right
Did
then.
I?
I had no idea what you're talking about, but I'm
breaking,
interested
I'm
still.
breaking down the pot. That's what the podcast is about. So basically, when your friends or family send you a newsletter and how everything is just such, you know, rainbows and ponies in your life, they imagine what you're really trying
so
to
it's
say.
Not. They're reading between the lines.
Yes, they're reading in between the lines and saying it's not a wonderful life, it's a wonderful lie.
All right, listen, I'll check it out, mostly because I hate newsletters.
Fair.
That I kind of want to check it out just to see what they have to say about other people's newsletters.
But on that note, though, you can go to podsauce.com and sign up for our newsletter.
That one I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one is
Had to
good.
clean
That's
it up.
quality right there.
Had to
That's
clean
a
it up.
quality newsletter,
Right
people.
in there. Get in there. Got to send out some love to Brandon Big B Gray, host of Deck the Hallmark.
And Brian Moylan from 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, great guest, by the way.
Hilarious.
I'm going to applaud Angie for this booking this week.
I'm
for
gonna
this
do this right here.
fantastic holiday episode.
And until next time, tell them where they can find us, Dax.
You can find us on all the social media platforms at the Podsauce, Facebook, Instagram, the Twitters.
The Twitterverse.
All of it. And you can find me at Dax Holt.
And you can find me at I am Alesha Renee. And until next time, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Happy holidays from our Podsauce family to yours. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holidays.
And happy Kwanzaa.